Imagine you are standing in a vast, empty field at dusk. The sky above is a canvas of infinite, bleeding color, and the horizon stretches in every direction, offering no clues, no landmarks, no signs of a path. You can go anywhere, north, south, east, west, or any of the infinite degrees in between. You can run, you can walk, you can lie down and wait for the sun. There are no rules, no expectations, no fences, and no one to tell you which direction leads to safety, or salvation, or ruin. There is only you, and this staggering, absolute, and utterly terrifying freedom. What do you feel in that moment? Is it the exhilarating rush of pure possibility? Or is it a profound, gut-wrenching vertigo? A dizziness that makes you want to fall to your knees, a silent scream building in your chest for someone, anyone, to please just point the way. Now, bring that feeling into your everyday life. It's there when you sit in front of a blank document, the cursor blinking, mocking you with its silent, rhythmic pulse. The page will become whatever you decide, and so you do nothing. It's there when you stand in a coffee shop, paralyzed by the choice between a latte and a cappuccino, a trivial decision that suddenly feels freighted with the weight of 1,000 unlived futures. It's there in the big moments, too. The career path not taken, the relationship you can't commit to or leave, the city you dream of moving to but never do. In all these moments, we are standing in that open field, and the sheer, unbound scope of our own freedom becomes a source not of liberation, but of profound dread. This is the great, unspoken paradox of the human condition. We claim to cherish freedom above all else. We fight wars for it, write anthems to it, build entire political systems around its promise. Yet in the quiet, private moments of our own lives, we seem to do everything in our power to escape it. We flee from the blank page and seek the comfort of a coloring book. We crave the checklist, the 5-step plan, the personality test that will finally put us in a box and tell us who we are and what we should do. We look to gurus, to ideologies, to horoscopes, to the expectations of our parents, to the unspoken runes of our social circles, anything for a script. We want a map for a territory that has no map, a set of instructions for a game with no instructions. Why? Why does the thing we claim to want the most feel so unbearable in practice? Why do we feel a strange secret sense of relief when a decision is made for us, when the choice is taken out of our hands, when circumstances corner us into a single path? A part of us relaxes. The vertigo subsides. We may not like the path, but at least we don't have to bear the crushing weight of having chosen it. This feeling, this existential dizziness, is not a sign of weakness or a modern psychological quirk. It is the central defining feature of what it means to be human. We are creatures who are terrifyingly, inescapably free. An acorn is destined to become an oak tree. Its essence, its blueprint, its purpose is pre-programmed. It cannot choose to become a willow or a star. It simply fulfills its nature. But you are different. You are born with no pre-written nature, no cosmic blueprint, no inherent purpose. You are thrown into the world, a raw, undefined consciousness, and it is up to you and you alone to create what you will become. Every choice you make, from the coffee you drink to the person you love, to the way you face your own death, is an act of self-creation. With every decision, you are carving your own essence out of the raw marble of your existence. You are the artist and the marble, the author and the story. And there is no divine instruction manual, no cosmic guarantee that you are doing it right. You are radically, terrifyingly responsible for the masterpiece or the monstrosity that you become. This is the source of our terror. The weight of this total responsibility is so immense that it can feel like a condemnation. We are condemned to be free. We are sentenced to a life of endless choice with no possibility of parole. So we invent prisons to make ourselves feel safe. We cling to identities. I am an introvert. I am an artist. I am a victim of my past. Because these labels provide a comforting sense of definition.
They offer a script. We adopt the values of our culture, the beliefs of our family, the routines of a 9-to-5 job, not always because we have chosen them, but because they provide a structure, a fence in the middle of that vast, terrifying field. We build a cage of habit, of dogma, of conformity, and we call it our life. But the cage can never truly hold us. The walls are an illusion. In every moment, you are free to walk away. And that underlying, ever-present knowledge is the source of our deep existential anxiety. It is the scratching from beneath the floorboards, the whisper that reminds us, you are the architect of all of this, and you can burn it to the ground at any moment. So what is this terrifying condition? What is the philosophical root of this vertigo that sends us fleeing from the very freedom we claim to desire? And is there a way to face this abyss without falling, to not just bear the weight of our freedom, but to embrace it as the very source of our dignity and our power? The terror you feel when standing in that open field is not a bug in your system. It is the system itself, operating exactly as designed. The hidden problem is that you are an animal who has become aware of its own cage, the cage of existence itself. And that awareness forces upon you a burden no other creature has to bear, the burden of choice. This is the radical and unsettling heart of existentialism, a philosophy born from the rubble of a world where all the old certainties, God, tradition, inherent purpose, had been bombed into oblivion. It is a philosophy for the godless, the mapless, and the free. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre diagnosed our condition with a single devastating phrase: existence precedes essence. This is the core of the problem. For every other object in the universe, from a paper knife to an acorn, its essence, its design, its purpose, its blueprint comes first. A craftsman conceives of the paper knife's purpose before it is created. Nature conceives of the oak tree and the acorn's DNA before it sprouts. But for a human being, Sartre argues, this is reversed. You are born first, simply thrown into existence, with no predefined purpose or nature. It is only after you are born, through your actions and your choices, that you create your own nature, essence. You are nothing at the start, and you will become only what you make of yourself. This is the source of the profound vertigo. There is no human nature to fall back on. There is no cosmic script to discover. There is no instruction manual taped to the back of your soul. You are terrifyingly unjustified. Your life has no inherent meaning. It is a blank canvas. And the responsibility of painting something on that canvas, anything at all, is entirely yours. This total responsibility is what Sartre calls anguish. It is the feeling that weighs upon you when you realize that in choosing for yourself, you are in a sense choosing for all of humanity. When you choose to be a certain kind of person, cowardly or brave, honest or deceitful, you are implicitly stating that this is a valid way for a human being to be. You are the legislator for your own corner of the universe, and the weight of that legislative power is crushing.
In the face of this anguish, we invent strategies of escape. The most powerful of these is what Sartre calls bad faith. Bad faith is the act of lying to yourself about the nature of your own freedom. It is the attempt to convince yourself that you are not, in fact, free, that you are an object, a thing with a fixed essence, just like the acorn or the paper knife. We do this in countless subtle ways every single day. The first form of bad faith is to pretend your role is your identity. The waiter who acts a little too much like a waiter, whose movements are a little too precise, a little too theatrical. He is, in Sartre's famous example, playing at being a waiter. He is trying to convince himself that his entire being is reducible to his function. He is not a radically free consciousness who chooses to wait tables. He is a waiter. We do the same. I can't do that. I'm a mother. I have to act this way. I'm a manager. I'm just not the kind of person who can learn a new language. These are all acts of bad faith. They are attempts to abdicate your freedom by conflating your existence with a predefined social role or a self-imposed label. You are not your job. You are not your personality type. You are not your past. You are a freedom,
And these are merely the situations in which your freedom is currently expressing itself. The second form of bad faith is to blame your circumstances. I would have been a great artist, but I had to support my family. I can't leave this toxic relationship because I'm financially dependent. My anxiety prevents me from taking risks. While these situations are real and carry real constraints, bad faith enters the moment you use them as an absolute excuse to deny your freedom. The situation, Sartre argues, only has the meaning you give it. You are the one who chooses to interpret family responsibility as an insurmountable barrier to art, rather than a creative constraint to be worked with. You are the one who chooses to value financial security over the emotional freedom of leaving a toxic situation. You are not a billiard ball knocked about by external forces. You are the one who decides what those forces mean. Even in the most extreme circumstances, like that of a prisoner, you are still free to choose how you relate to your imprisonment, with defiance, with despair, with dignity. This was a truth Viktor Frankl, another giant of existential thought, discovered in the concentration camps. The last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This flight from freedom into bad faith is not an accident. It is a psychological defense mechanism against the terror of the abyss. To be truly free is to live without excuses. It is to accept that there is no one to blame and no one to praise but yourself. If your life is a masterpiece, the credit is yours. If it is a miserable failure, the responsibility is also yours. This is a terrifyingly lonely and demanding proposition. It is far more comforting to believe that your life is the product of your genetics, your upbringing, your social class, or your psychological diagnosis. These stories, while often disempowering, offer a profound sense of relief. They lift the unbearable burden of total responsibility from your shoulders. So the hidden problem is this: you are caught in a fundamental contradiction. You are a being who is condemned to be free, yet you are psychologically wired to flee from that very freedom. You are a subjectivity pretending to be an object. You are a god in chains, and you have forged the chains yourself out of fear. You have built a cage of excuses, labels, and roles, and you sit inside it, complaining about the lock, while all secretly knowing the door has been opened the entire time. The unseen consequences of this act of self-deception are not just philosophical, they permeate every aspect of your life, creating a world of quiet desperation that you mistake for stability. Living in bad faith is not a victimless crime. The victim is your own potential, and the crime scene is the unlived life you leave behind. The consequences of this flight from freedom are not sudden or dramatic, but are like a slow-acting poison that leaches the color, meaning, and vitality from your existence. You don't collapse, you simply fade, becoming a ghost haunting the hallways of a life you never truly chose. The first and most pervasive consequence is a life of quiet desperation, masked as contentment. When you live in bad faith, you build your life around external structures, the expectations of society, the security of a career ladder, the comfort of a predictable routine. You follow a script written by someone else. On the surface, this life can look successful. You get the degree, the job, the mortgage, the family. You check all the boxes. Yet you are haunted by a persistent, low-grade sense of inauthenticity. It's the feeling of being an actor in your own life, flawlessly delivering lines that you don't believe. It's the Sunday evening dread that has less to do with the coming work week and more to do with the dawning realization that you are spending your one precious existence performing a role you never auditioned for. This creates a deep internal dissonance. You tell yourself, I should be happy, but the feeling isn't there. This gap between the life you are supposed to want and the life your soul actually craves is the source of a profound, gnawing anxiety. It is the anguish of your freedom, bubbling up from beneath the layers of self-deception, reminding you that you are living a lie. The second consequence is the death of passion and the rise of passive consumption. True passion can only arise from a place of freedom. It is the energetic, joyful expression of a freely chosen value. It is what happens when you decide, with no external justification, this matters to me, and pour your being into it. But when you live in bad faith, your core motivation is not passion, but fear, the fear of freedom. You don't choose what you love, you choose what is safe, what is respectable, what is easy. Because this path is devoid of genuine, self-chosen meaning, it feels empty. To fill this emptiness, you turn to consumption. You consume entertainment, products, experiences, and even other people's opinions. You become a spectator of life rather than a participant. Your weekends, which could be fields of infinite possibility for creation and connection, become scheduled blocks of time for binge-watching, brunching, and scrolling. These activities are not inherently bad, but in the context of bad faith, they serve as a powerful anesthetic. They are designed to numb the vertigo, to keep you distracted from the terrifying silence in which you might be forced to confront the blank canvas of your own existence.
The third consequence is the corrosion of your relationships. In bad faith, you can't form authentic connections with others because you are not being authentic with yourself. Instead of meeting another free consciousness, you interact with them as a set of roles. You see not a complex, free individual, but the boss, the partner, the child. You expect them to play their part according to the script you have in your head, and you feel frustrated and betrayed when they exercise their own freedom and deviate from it. Worse, you use them as an instrument of your own bad faith. You might stay in a relationship not out of a freely chosen love, but because the role of partner gives you a solid, comforting identity and excuses you from the terror of being alone. You become, in Sartre's view, a user of others, not for their money or status, but for their ability to help you lie to yourself. This is why so many relationships feel like prisons of mutual obligation. They are unspoken pacts of bad faith, where two people agree to limit each other's freedom in exchange for the security of a predictable role. It is a relationship built not on love, but on a shared fear of the open field. Finally, the ultimate consequence of fleeing from freedom is the experience Sartre calls nausea. This is not just a feeling, it is a philosophical revelation. It is the moment when all the comforting labels, roles, and justifications suddenly peel away, and you are confronted with the raw, brutal, and meaningless fact of existence itself. It is the moment you look at a tree and don't see a tree, a familiar, categorized object, but you see a bizarre, alien, and utterly contingent thing, a writhing, dark mass of pure being that has no reason to be there. And in that same moment, you realize that you too are just a contingent thing. There is no reason for your existence. You are utterly superfluous, an accident to biology on a speck of dust. This experience of nausea is the complete collapse of bad faith. It is the universe stripping you of all your comforting lies and forcing you to look at the terrifying, unjustified truth of your own being. Most people will do anything to avoid this feeling. They will double down on their distractions, cling tighter to their roles, and frantically try to glue the labels back on. They spend their entire lives running from this one horrifying and ultimately liberating moment. Because for Sartre, nausea is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the ground zero from which an authentic life can finally be built. It is the terrifying realization that if nothing has any inherent meaning, then you are finally free to create your own. The unseen consequences of your escape have led you to the very precipice you were trying to avoid. The only question left is whether you will retreat back into the comfortable lie or find the courage to leap. The escape from the prison of bad faith is not a gentle process of self-improvement. It is a rebellion. It is a violent, conscious, and continuous act of insurrection against your deepest instincts for comfort and security. It is the decision to stop running from the open field and to start learning how to stand and even dance in the face of its terrifying infinity. This rebellion doesn't require you to change your life circumstances, but to radically change your relationship to them. The first act of rebellion is to embrace the anguish. You have spent your life treating anxiety and dread as problems to be solved, as pathologies to be medicated. The rebellion is to reframe them. This anguish is not a sign that you are broken. It is a signal that you are awake. It is the noble symptom of a free consciousness grappling with its own condition. It is the compass of your authenticity, and when you feel it, it means you are getting close to a fundamental truth.
So instead of distracting yourself from the Sunday evening dread, you must learn to sit with it. Lean into the vertigo you feel when faced with a major life choice. Don't immediately seek an answer or a solution. Instead, ask the feeling, what freedom are you reminding me of that I am trying to deny? This practice is a form of existential mindfulness. It is the act of consciously inhabiting the uncomfortable reality of your own freedom until it ceases to be a source of terror and becomes simply the weather of your existence. The second act of rebellion is to destroy your own excuses. You must become a ruthless interrogator of the stories you tell yourself. This requires you to put your own life on trial. Take the central excuse you use to justify your inaction, your bad faith alibi. I can't pursue my passion because I don't have enough money. I can't be honest in my relationship because my partner would leave me. I can't change careers because I'm too old. Now, you must attack this excuse with the ferocity of a prosecutor. Is it an absolute physical law of the universe, or is it a choice you are making? You are choosing financial security over the pursuit of your passion. You are choosing to avoid the potential pain of a breakup over the value of living in truth. You are choosing the comfort of the familiar over the uncertainty of a new beginning. The point is not to shame yourself, but to reclaim your agency. By rephrasing your excuses as choices, you move from a position of passive victimhood to one of active, if difficult, responsibility. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I am choosing not to. This simple shift in language is a revolution. It annihilates bad faith and places the immense power and burden of your life squarely back in your own hands. The third and most creative act of rebellion is what Sartre calls commitment or engagement. Since life has no inherent meaning, you must create it. You must choose a project and pour your freedom into it. This is the ultimate act of defiance against the meaninglessness of the universe. The project itself can be anything: raising a child, building a business, mastering a craft, fighting for a political cause. The content of the project is less important than the form of your commitment to it. A project in the existential sense is not a goal to be achieved. It is a direction in which to hurl your existence. It is the act of saying, out of all the infinite possibilities, I choose this. I declare, with no cosmic justification, that this matters. This is the antidote to the paralysis of infinite choice. By committing to a project, you are voluntarily creating a fence in the open field, but unlike the fences of bad faith, this is one you have designed and built yourself out of your own freely chosen values. It is a structure that doesn't limit your freedom, but gives it a channel, a focus, and a purpose. This is how you transform the terrifying, abstract potential of your freedom into the solid, tangible reality of a life. You are no longer paralyzed by the blank canvas because you have picked up a brush and made the first, terrifying, and glorious stroke. Your commitment will be tested. You will be tempted by other paths. You will doubt your choice, and the anguish of your freedom will never entirely disappear. But your project becomes your anchor in the storm of existence, a testament to your ability to create meaning in a meaningless world.
This rebellion is not a one-time decision. It is a practice, a daily, moment-to-moment choice to live authentically in the face of the abyss. It is the choice to accept the anguish, to dismantle the excuse, and to engage in the project. It is the terrifying and exhilarating process of taking full responsibility for your own soul. It is the art of learning to stand in that open field, not with your eyes squeezed shut in terror, but with your arms wide open, ready to embrace the magnificent and terrible burden of being the sole creator of your own life. And this continuous act of rebellion is the necessary crucible for the final, most profound realization of all, a truth that transforms the condemnation of freedom into a source of ultimate power. You have begun the rebellion. You have sat with the anguish, dismantled your most cherished excuses, and committed to a project that gives your freedom a direction. You have started to live without a safety net, accepting the terrifying and exhilarating responsibility for your own existence. The vertigo is still there, but you are learning to see it not as a prelude to a fall, but as the dizzying sensation of looking up at an infinite sky. You have tasted the profound difficulty and the unparalleled dignity of an authentic life. But this struggle prepares you for one final, paradigm-shattering truth, a realization that transforms the entire human project. The ultimate truth is not that you are free to create your own life. It is that you are your life. There is no distinction. The deepest, most insidious form of bad faith is the belief in a secret, inner you, a static, essential self that exists independently of your actions in the world. We cling to this idea. Deep down, I'm a good person, even if I act selfishly. I am a brilliant artist, I just haven't created anything yet. I have a loving heart, even if my relationships are a wreck. We imagine our true self as a pristine, beautiful statue locked in a dusty room, while the body and its actions move about in the messy, compromised world outside. This belief is the ultimate excuse. It allows us to fail, to be cowardly, to be inert, while still preserving the comforting fiction of our own noble, unrealized potential. Sartre's philosophy obliterates this hiding place. For him, there is no dusty room. There is no secret statue. There is no deep down. You are not what you think, what you feel, or what you intend to be. You are what you do. Your existence is the sum total of your actions. Your life is not a dress rehearsal for a future performance where your true self will finally take the stage. The performance is happening right now, and it is the only one there will be. This is a truth of breathtaking brutality and exhilarating liberation. It means that a person who has spent their life acting with cruelty and selfishness is a cruel and selfish person. Their secret, unacted upon good intentions are a ghost, a nothingness. Conversely, a person who consistently acts with courage and kindness is a courageous and kind person, regardless of their inner doubts or fears. Your essence is not a hidden core of being. It is the visible, tangible trail you leave in the world through your choices and actions. You are not a noun. You are a verb in a continuous, present tense. This realization is the final annihilation of bad faith. There is nowhere left to hide. You cannot find solace in the person you could have been. The person you could have been does not exist. There is only the person you are, right now, as defined by the path you have walked. This is the moment where the full, crushing, and glorious weight of your freedom becomes undeniable. You understand that every single action, no matter how small, is not just something you do, but something you become. The choice to tell a small lie is not an isolated event, it is an act of becoming a liar. The choice to avoid a difficult conversation is an act of becoming a coward. The choice to create a single piece of art, no matter how imperfect, is an act of becoming an artist. This transforms the project of your life. The goal is not to achieve a certain outcome, but to engage in the act of becoming. The painter who paints every day is an artist, whether they sell a single canvas or not. The writer who writes every morning is a writer, whether they are ever published. Their identity is forged in the verb, not the noun. The success or failure of their project in the eyes of the world is secondary to the fact that through their commitment, they are continuously creating their essence as a creator. Look back at that vast, empty field. The terror of that field came from the belief that there was a right path to choose and a secret you who needed to find it. The ultimate truth is that there is no path until you walk it. The field is not a puzzle to be solved, but a canvas to be painted upon with your footsteps. And you are nothing more or less than the pattern of those footsteps. This is the final, most powerful freedom.
If you are the sum of your actions, it means that you can, in the very next moment, begin to be someone else. Your past does not define you, it merely records the choices you have made. But the canvas of the present moment is always blank. You are not a prisoner of your history. You are only a prisoner of your next choice. You are free, in this instant, to begin the act of becoming brave, of becoming honest, of becoming the artist of your own existence. The condemnation of freedom is transformed into the ultimate opportunity. You are not sentenced to a life of terrifying choice. You are gifted with the divine, creative power to forge a soul out of the raw material of time. Your life is your one and only work of art. The world will not judge it by the secret intentions you held in your heart. It will judge it by what it sees. It is time to stop dreaming of the statue in the locked room. It is time to pick up the chisel and begin to carve.